This will be, I will put this back in the chat once I get the video. I'm gonna tell you, I have a crazy day today, so it's probably not gonna be until the end of the day, just so you know. I do get people calling me literally right after this saying, where's the video? Gotta give me some time, guys. But I love the enthusiasm. Okay, so we're gonna go through this. Like I said, I'm just gonna go into it, get started. Let me make sure you guys are all muted. I'm gonna mute you guys just so everybody, I don't get background noise. Sharing, it's not social media. Sorry for those that saw that social media. It's not social media, class. Okay, creating a marketing plan. I need coffee. Okay, let's go. Let's get into this. Okay. So obviously for starters, with anything with marketing, and especially this is always key, and this is one of my favorite quotes, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. This is really just showing that preparation is key. And a lot goes into marketing and planning, and it's really just preparing. And that's what I just want to state for first and foremost. It's really preparing. And this is where like sales and marketing is a little different. Like you guys, it's all about your phone rings, you go. Marketing, everything is driven by a schedule and preparing. And so we're going to talk about that. So obviously, what is a marketing plan? It outlines basically your goals for the year. So that's first and foremost, is establishing your goals, your target audience, marketing and advertising plans, and other strategies to grow your business. So this is like, I would live and breathe this for any company that I worked with. I lived and breathed the marketing plan. It was my budget. It was my strategy. It was everything. And so it's great to have this set, even if you can't do it throughout the year, even if you're 6 months out. It's a great thing to put in place to keep you kind of on track and in line with what your goals are. And also it helps with your budget too, to make sure that you're on track with your budget. So we're going to talk about all of this today. So what it's going to help you do, it's going to identify the right tools and messages to effectively reach your audience. This is key. Ways to better serve your clients, where you want your business to be, and how you're going to get there, and how to measure the performance of your marketing efforts. So also how to recognize when and where you need to make a course correction. So this is key. You know, this is why I say again, you don't live and breathe your plan. It alters. And that's why the key thing is these things that we're going to go over today are making sure that you're looking at these factors, because sometimes you may have to shift. You know, obviously, if somebody had a plan in the beginning of 2020, that drastically got shifted when COVID happened, you know, so things like that happen and it's going to change the course of your action, but it's all right because you have a plan. It's just making those little changes, but having nothing is making it worse than if you had something and alter it. So how do you structure it? So obviously, first and foremost are your list of goals first. So this is key. And what I mean by goals is like, you really have to have a vision of your business. So you guys are all in your own business, and it's really, what do you want to achieve in that business? You know, what do you want to be like the top agent in your sphere or your office? Do you want to be the top agent in the nation, the top agent in the state? Like, what is it that you want to do? That's, you have to determine. And not every agent, even though you think probably everyone has the same goals, everyone's are different. Some people are just happy with doing a couple deals a year, and that's happy. I literally just met one agent the other day, and she's like, there's one deal a year. It's like usually like $2 million, but she's happy with that. So you have to decide what your goals are. So example is, we intend to provide, say, I could say sellers, buyers with such and such service that makes them feel blank to work with us, not only during the buying, selling process, also closing. So they'll refer their friends and family. This is for the business. It's kind of like your selling proposition. When you determine this, I know it's silly, like you go through these little things, and I'm telling you because I thought it was silly when I used to do them, but it really sets the tone of then how you're going to target your marketing plan, because it is different. You know, it's different if you're going after sellers and then buyers and then investors. Those are all different messages. Let me minimize this so I can't see this. Another example is how our company will change the way in your target customers. This could be change the way buyers think about the real estate market, how we provide such and such service. So like you can talk about how we provide marketing, you know, customer service, whatever it is, we'll assure them that we are the best partners in real estate. These are examples of just propositioning your company to determining what your overall goal is and how you want to position this to the public. So obviously define your objectives and goals. So develop a big picture vision for your business. What does success look like for your business? Is it establishing a number of new clients? You know, maybe you want to say, okay, I want 20 new clients this year, or whatever that is? Is it a number of referrals from past, present clients? Hitting a certain sales figure? See, these are all different goals and objectives. I really can't talk this morning. Become the top producer in your area, or maybe you want to retire in 10 years. So whatever your goal is, you have to figure that out. Maybe you want to dominate a certain niche of buyers and sellers. Make sure that your goals obviously are realistic and achievable. So whatever that is, you have to set that up in the beginning. And this will determine how you're going to go after that throughout the year. So then you pick measurable goals. Some examples are obtain 20 listings in the next year, achieving a 50% name recognition in your target area, receiving referrals from 75% of your past customers or sphere of influence, securing a 20% share of the market in your target area. And it's funny, guys, because I used to sit there and I never believed it. I was like, oh no, it's stupid to write these things down. It doesn't work. But it really does. It sets the tone with your target. When you write these goals and objectives down, it sets the goal in your head of what you're going to do to how you're going to get there. So how you can define your goals. Here are some examples. So you have your strategic goals. These are going to be like what's going to help you achieve your business goals. So an example would be like, I'm going to close 2 million in sales for the year. The strategy would be that you're going to be recognized as one of the top 10 real estate agents for home sellers in the country. So then you have the tactical goal. That's going to be like, how are you going to achieve that goal? So here's the strategy, would be recognized as one of the top real estate agents from home sellers in the county. And the tactic would be post 10 customer reviews per month to our Zillow group profile page and corporate website. See, now that just became part of your marketing plan. That's something that you can put into your marketing plan of what you're going to do to help achieve that goal. See, that's how it goes and coincides. Research obviously is key. So research in everything. You have to research your competitors. Competitors are huge with developing a marketing plan. I always say, like, a lot of people that I meet with and I do in my classes, you'll hear me say, marketing is really, you're basically kind of taking somebody else's idea and making it better. That's really what it is. And so looking at what's working is huge. Looking at those realtors, those agents who are successful, why are they successful? How did they get that way? That's huge. And then you get ideas then of how to take yours and make it better. Develop your strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. So these are figuring out what are your weaknesses, which are always hard for a lot of people to figure out, but it's crucial to know what are you weak at. Say marketing, which I understand some of you are, then maybe partnering up with an agent who's stronger in that aspect could be some of your goal for your marketing business, for your business. It could be a goal then that you partner with somebody who's stronger in that area. Knowing your buyer personas and your buyer's buying cycle. These are like key to the research of your marketing plan. So obviously you got to do your research. So if you don't know who you are, what you're selling, and who you're selling to, you're going to have a pretty hard time convincing people to buy your product. So this is where really you have to figure out, who am I targeting? Am I targeting buyers? And what if I am targeting buyers, what kind of buyer am I targeting? Is it luxury? Is it new home buyers? Like, what is it? If I'm targeting sellers, same thing. What kind of seller am I targeting? Am I targeting investors? Am I targeting the luxury market? Those are the things that those help you determine what your marketing plan is going to be for the year. Do your homework and feel out the competition. So what I always say, guys, too, is use, like, even in this market too, always going outside of our market is always a good thing to do. So what I always like to say is, like, California is a very good mirror market to Florida. Look at California and what's working, because they're very up and coming. Sometimes they're even ahead of us, but I feel like we're a lot head with them. Sometimes I feel a lot that they are ahead of us. And so I like to look at them and see, okay, what is working in their market? What are they doing? And then then you could even like look at that and then implement that over here. So subscribe to your competitors. This is get on their email list. This is where I tell everyone, don't allow real agents on your list. This is why, because people copy people. So this is why I say to you, don't allow them on your list, but go on their list. Follow what they're doing. It's crucial in any business. And in any business that you do, my husband has a business completely not even related to real estate. And that's literally what I do, is I follow the competitors and look at what they're doing, just so we're always one step ahead. And that's the same with here. And this, you guys are in probably one of the most competitive industries out there. You have to follow and keep ahead of what people are doing. Follow them on all of the social media sites. Examine what content they're creating, who it's aimed for, how often it's produced, and who's writing it, what the topics are. These are crucial, and these are what's going to help you be able to then get ideas for yourself. Don't copy though, guys, okay? I always say copy, like, I always preference this because look, like I said, I don't feel like you ever have to reinvent the wheel. I feel everything is out there and you can use, this is why if you're good and you're successful, you will get copied. But take that as a compliment, you know, but one thing to keep in mind is don't ever copy anybody verbatim. Like take it and make it better, modify it to your own degree. So I always say this with anything, like even if you're writing anything or whatever, like take it as a guide and then make it better and tweak it and make it your own. So here, evaluate your competition. These are things that I would be looking at. I would look at how their website's structured. You know, how are they driving leads? What type of ads are they using? How are their listings formatted? Look on Zillow, what images and words that they're using to attract buyers. Are they using print ads? I can tell you a lot of people aren't anymore, but if they are, look, I would say look at more of the digital ads because digital's so big right now. What are they doing? Look through the real estate books and see what they're doing and who they're targeting. How are they marketing on social media? See if they're advertising on Facebook. Like I used to have a competitor file that I would literally keep all of my brochures, anything that I got from my competitors, I would keep it in a file so that I can always go back and reference it. How are they using Facebook and Instagram and Google and Instagram? And you know, find out the keywords that you're using in the demographics. I really can't talk this morning. And then what branding are they using? You know, go around town, look at billboards, flyers, and you guys have an industry where agents are all over. I see them all over on benches and everywhere. Look at those, you know, look at the slogans that they're using and listen to what people are talking about with them. And this is where you can perform a competitive analysis. So this is basically where you're going to assess your competitor's strengths and weaknesses. Now, this was crucial, guys. This was crucial in any kind of marketing plan, because once you develop somebody's weakness, then you can then take that and run with that, because now you can offer that as your strength and you can hone in on that. So if you see that they're weak in something, then you go and offer that. So for example, the competitor, say it's XYZ Real Estate. They have 13 years in operation, multiple buyer and seller agents and licensed assistants. Their weakness is they don't focus on luxury homes. Well, right there, then you could focus on luxury. They have a crowded website and it's hard to find their contact information. So that's where then you can make yours more prominent and very easy to find. See, those are just little examples of how then you could make yours better. But knowing what these are, and if you're not researching it and looking at them, you're not going to know what to focus on. Everybody has a weakness, guys. I don't care even if you're a top agent. There's a weakness there. You got to find it. So capitalize on that competitor's weakness. So for example, you have your XYZ Real Estate. Their weakness is their focus on luxury homes. So how would you do this? How do you overcome this? So we will include low to mid-range homes in our listings. We will publish how-to blog, y'all hear me, I heard blog articles on spotting diamonds in the rough. You know, determining how much your home you need and calculating mortgages. Hold seminars on finding the right home. So obviously seminars aren't very popular right now with the way that the world is going, but this is where you could do Facebook Live events. You can hold digital videos stuff. You can even do video tutorials on finding the right home and what they need to do that. So the SWOT analysis, this is again where you're figuring out their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is where you have to really break this down with your competitors. Okay, so here, when you do this, you determine your strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats to help you understand the viability of your goals. So the example would be, my strengths are solid understanding of challenges facing first-time homebuyers. My weakness, maybe I'm overstaffed. The opportunities, I can raise brand awareness among first-time homebuyers, and the threats would be cash flow could force us to reduce staff. That's just one example of a SWOT analysis of what you can do. And I'm just telling you, like, you see why doing these little exercises will help you realize how you're going to target and what your message is going to be for your marketing plan. So use the analysis results to your advantage. Write out a plan to leverage your strengths, overcome your weaknesses, and capitalize on opportunities to eliminate the threat. So example, your strengths, a solid understanding of challenging first-time home buyers. How would you leverage that? You could develop a guide on things to consider when buying your first home. So you see, like, once you determine what it is, then you know how to position your marketing. You can offer a seminar to first-time home buyers. You can develop a plan to capture attendee information, advertise a seminar. I mean, these say seminar now because I did this pre-COVID, but obviously these can be like online events, Facebook Live events, or even just video tutorials that you're sending out via email, via on social media. Basically things like that, you know, and you can even hold a Facebook Live event on things to consider when buying your first home, because that's a huge market, guys. A lot of people, and especially first-time home buyers, they're very scared. This is the biggest purchase they'll ever make. They don't have no idea what to do. That could be a great niche right there. So obviously then creating your buyer persona. So this is key too, and this is always key when developing a marketing plan, is figuring out who your target audience is. So let's talk about that. So understanding your audience is obviously vital in developing a successful marketing plan. Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it a seller? Is it a renter? Is it an investor? So you guys can figure out what you want to target. Are you targeting a more specific subset like relocators, retirees, or investors? You know, what is that target client's persona? Because these are different marketing messages and these are different ways to get them. You know, your first-time home buyer versus your luxury person isn't going to be in the same area to target. The message would be completely different. Once you know who you're targeting, you can develop further personas. So these important deals will help you make your real estate marketing strategy effective and efficient. So here are some questions that could help you. Where do they live? How old are they? What is their annual household income? What is the household makeup? You know, do they have grandma in the house living with them? Do they have still college students living with them or kids living with them? You know, are they empty nesters? Like, those are going to help you on how you're going to approach this marketing strategy. So what do they want from their home? You know, do they want a big yard because they have young kids? Or maybe they don't want a yard anymore because they're empty nesters and their kids are moving away. They don't want to deal with maintenance. They don't want to deal with lawn. They want somebody else to do it for them. So that would then determine too how you approach this and the messages that you put in your marketing. What are the feelings and concerns about searching for and purchasing their home? These are huge on then determining your strategy. So select one or two groups to target with your marketing efforts. Be sure that your defined audiences are large enough to generate the number of sales and listings that you want. So then analyze those characteristics. So such things as age, geographic, income, ethnic and culture groups, levels of education, you know, or where they're working. You know, maybe I even have some people that they target just medical. You could literally just target the medical field, and that's a totally different thing right there. Lifestyle, such as golfers, buying second homes. These are things that you will determine, and you will put these items when you figure out what your characteristics are, then you will put your messaging to target those in your marketing. Market conditions play a role. You know, a strong seller's market may require a plan that focuses on why real estate professionals is needed in the transaction. You know, that's huge. Even when new construction should totally be focused on why a realtor is needed. A lot don't think it is, but those builders hide a lot of stuff in that contract that most people don't know. And that's where you can come in and educate them on that. You know, that can even be a seminar right there. That could be a Facebook Live event right there, is why the importance of a realtor with new home construction. A weak economy. So it might suggest highlighting your ability to help with financing as part of your marketing approach. So yeah, talk about our partners here. So we have, you know, they have great things that they give for us. You know, talk about that and highlight how they help in the financing aspect. So this is, again, knowing your buyer. So knowing your buyer, that when you're presenting to the customer and inside your marketing proposal, you can show them that do things differently from everybody else. So this is where then when you're doing your pitch, you can show how you're different. You know, an example would be like, I'm going to go in and say, well, the ideal buyer for this home is probably a newlywed couple. Maybe they've got a child, maybe a child on the way. They're buying this 3rd bedroom, 2-bath in the move up part of town, out of condo. That person is on Facebook. That right there would be huge. If you guys went into a seller's presentation and actually said this, that you know where your buyer is, you know that who your buyer is, like that is a huge differentiation. I don't see anybody doing that in their seller presentations. That person's on Facebook, so that's showing that you know where to target them and you know how you're going to spend your marketing dollars. There's 7,500 of them, or there's 15,000 of them right here in our local marketplace. So this is, again, knowing who your people are and doing your research so that you can throw that at them. And then it shows how knowledgeable you are. So then you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know the exact type of buyer because I've created an avatar based on who they are. And I've already done some research on Facebook to let you know there's 31,000 of them. And the moment you list your home with me tonight, my marketing team and I are going to go back and run a very specific strategic ad directly to them, driving them in their native world. Facebook, right back to your home. Is that the kind of marketing you're looking for? I mean, come on, guys. Who says that in their seller presentation? That's huge. That's going to show how knowledgeable you are. That's what I'm saying is this is where the key factors of this research comes in. So learn your buyer's buying cycle. This is also huge. You know, this is learning what do they do. So the key steps kind of is like they're aware of it. So they're aware of you. Then they go under consideration of the home. Then they make a decision. So that's a typical buying cycle. But knowing that like every buyer cycle is different. So fun fact, 70 to 90% of the buyer's journey is complete prior to engaging with somebody. 11.4, a consumer engaged with 11.4 pieces of content. And I say this a lot in my classes, because even with social media, people, it takes them a lot to see your advertising in order for them to react. Okay, just think of what it does with you. If you guys are making a big purchase, if you're thinking of buying a car, long does it take you to make that thought process to actually execute that? How many ads do you keep looking at? How many commercials do you keep looking at of different vehicles so you actually make that decision? So then think of a house. That's the biggest purchase anybody ever makes. That is going to take them longer. This is almost basically 12 pieces of content. This is, again, where it's important to have those drip campaigns going. This is why I say all the time is on your in touch. You've got to have those drip campaigns in place so you're constantly touching them. Let them unsubscribe from your marketing. You don't ever take them off. You constantly send them stuff, send them direct mail pieces, send them emails, have it going out until they say to stop. Consumers are 5 times more dependent on content than they were 5 years ago. I mean, that's huge. I mean, and we're getting blasted left and right with tons of content. So that's why I say, guys, you've got to keep giving them stuff. You got to keep basically telling them why you. Why should they go with you? What do you know? That type. And those drip campaigns are crucial, and I talk about this a lot in my email classes, but your drip campaign should be different based on who you're targeting. A buyer drip campaign should be completely different than a seller drip campaign. And past client and sphere, they should be getting different messages. So explain your strategy. This is obviously where you decide, okay, you define your goals. Know your unique selling proposition. This is huge too, and this takes a while for a lot of times to think about. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what our selling proposition is, but each of us have something that we can offer that somebody else doesn't. Know what that is. Even if it's like, say you're a resident for 20 years in the area, that's a selling proposition for you. Maybe you have a background in golf. That's a selling proposition, because then you can target those homes that are on the golf course and you can talk about that. Ensure that you have a strong brand. So branding is huge with all of this. Having consistency in your brand is a huge message. Make sure you have an optimized website. So that's making sure that you have content on your website. So in your in touch, that's making sure that your communities are set up. The community serve pages need to set up. You need to have content on there that you guys have written. If you have any content that was given to you, you need to change it. So everyone, when they came here, they got a free website and they got it basically set up. It was basically running. You have to change that, because the hindrance is if you guys all have the same content, Google has no idea how to rank you. If I have 500 agents who literally say the same thing on their website, what does Google know? How does Google rank you? They don't. So what they do is they stick you on the bottom. You have to change that content, guys. Sorry, there's a swear word in here. Creating kick-ass content, but that's what I mean, guys. Creating content is huge. And all I mean by content, this is how search engines find you. You have to write about how you want to be found. So if I want to be found for a certain area, say what, I'm in plantation today, so I'm going to pick on plantation. Say I want to be found for plantation. I would be writing so much about plantation. I would be writing about the events happening in plantation. This is where blogging is key. Blogging is huge. And this is where then this can help you with your marketing plan. And then you would define your distribution channels. So then you would talk about, okay, am I going to email? Am I going to post? How many times am I going to email a month? Am I going to do on social media? How many times am I posting per week? And then you implement that SEO strategy. So that's your search engine optimization strategy, which is really writing content. And I know I say it, I talk about blogging a lot because it really is such a big game changer, and I don't see very many agents doing it at all. Blogging is huge, guys. And so blogging, what I mean by blogging is writing about the area. So I got sidetracked. If I was going to dominate Plantation, I would write about everything related to Plantation. I would talk about top 10 restaurants in Plantation. I would talk about boutique shops in Plantation. Where do you go shopping at? I would talk about events happening in Plantation. I would talk about the real estate market in Plantation. Like, you just keep repeating Plantation, Plantation, Plantation. And in a way that it makes sense, that's how you're going to dominate then online. So obviously you got to create your strategy. So whittle down your goals, okay? Setting both quantitative and qualitative goals are around these findings, as well as developing KPIs. So these are key performance indicators, will be essential. Goals should be obtainable, okay, but not easy. Okay, don't set like unrealistic goals that you can't say. Like, if you're only doing like 1 to 2 deals right now, don't say, okay, next year I want to do 50. Like, start out slow. Do it like, okay, in the next 6 months I want to get to 5. And then from there, then you extend that to then 10. Because if you set something so ridiculous, you'll never achieve it, because in your mind, you know it's so off base. So just set like goals that are achievable and obtainable to you. You want to make sure that you're reaching for your goals, but not shooting for the stars, because you will get discouraged and overwhelmed. That's the key to getting discouraged and overwhelmed, when you set it too high. So set baby steps and then achieve it. And then once you achieve that, it makes something in your mind click of like, okay, I did this. Now I can go to the next step. It really is. It's this weird, and this is why they say like write these things down, because it really helps keep you on track. So here are some tips. Evaluate your current position in the market. Set realistic goals. Understand your growth year to date and set attainable, challenging goals accordingly. Tie your goals into your business mission, and this will be then including into your plan. So don't overwhelm yourself. Pick no more than 2 main goals and 3 to 5 supporting goals. Accept that sometimes you fail and not reach all of your goals, but be okay with that. Create milestones for reaching your goals. So maybe you say to yourself, look, if I reach that goal and I'm going to get 5 deals this year, then I'm going to go take myself out to that restaurant that I thought I couldn't go out to before. Like, do that, like treat yourself, because then it's going to help you then go and make it your next goal. So this is huge too. Know what makes you unique. And this is what I say is everyone has something. And if you sit there and you say you don't, you have something. If you don't know what it is, ask your spouse, ask your kids, ask your family what you think makes you unique, or even ask your friends. They will tell you something. Everybody has something. And you clearly need to state that unique selling proposition and do it often on your website, in your emails, through your ads. This is where you're repeating that unique selling proposition all the time. So for example, there's an agent in Weston. Her husband is ex-pro golfer. So she uses that. She uses that to her advantage, because now he can talk about golfing. He even does blogs on golfing. But now, especially with Weston, it's a huge golfing community. Weston Hills is a great golf course. So they use that to their advantage to help that with those sales. And that's what I'm saying. It's something as simple as that. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's who you work with. But use that to your advantage. There's also too, like the Jills, for example. They have their son. He was in law, so he uses that to his advantage, where he had a law degree. Even things like that. Maybe you have a psychology degree. You can actually then say, okay, I know where I can evaluate buyers and sellers more. Whatever it is, use it to your advantage. So then here's kind of how you can help target that or create that for you. So first of all, it's going to help you differentiate yourself from the competition. And more importantly, you need it for a successful marketing plan, because you have to consider basically what you're going to do with this plan and how you're going to target. So you can provide a solution to the problem and how much you're willing to spend to do so. So here's kind of a little guide that I say helps kind of basically figure out your unique selling proposition. So you could say, who's it for? This example says home buyer clients. Who needs it? They need to find it to purchase their first home. The company, so your personally guided process. You provide quick and painless home purchases at 5% commission. You're unlike why? Why do this by combining our extensive knowledge of the market with a deep understanding of our clients' needs and concerns, as demonstrated by the consistently high number of listings and referrals we receive. So this is a proof point. I'm a big believer in proof points. So what makes you unique? Setting yourself apart from other salespeople is essential, especially with this industry. You guys are very inundated with a ton. Everybody's a realtor. Consider your own strengths and weaknesses and focus on the qualities and skills that make you special to potential customers. So express that message in language to your target audience. Okay, so this is where it's huge. Don't use current slang to sound cool when your audience is 40 something. So this is again where you have to know who you're targeting because your message is different. If you're sending the same message to everybody, then you're in a problem right now. So some of the things were like education. If you have a law degree, a CPA, your benefit is your knowledge of legal and financial issues can make the transaction process easier. This is a huge advantage that you have. Residency. So if you've been in like a current resident of 20 years or you grew up and you're born there, you know the available services and activities and interests of that prospective neighborhood. You know that neighborhood probably better than anybody, so you can talk about it. A leadership role in the community. So if you were on the board of something, or if you were the head of the HOA or whatever it is, or a professional group, you can benefit first access to new ideas in the industry and sources of solutions to problems. A natural affinity for a certain group. So maybe you are in the senior group, or for example, that's a benefit. It's a special understanding of the needs and desires of that group. And you don't know that until you're in it. So that's a benefit, where I would use that to advantage. So those are just little examples to really help you guys mapping it out because it's crucial. So an example is, say, differentiator, first-time homebuyer expertise. How do we do it? Our top 3 buyer agents have 60+ years. So this is a little marketing stat, whatever that they use all the time. Okay, so if I say I only have like 20 years and I work with somebody and they have 5 years, now I can combine that and say, okay, we got 25 years experience, something like that. I mean, that's where you can use that little marketing lingo to help make you look better and sound better. Even if you're just doing it with a co-listing agent, combine the years experience for first-time homebuyers. We know it's working because last year, 18% of our first-time homebuyer clients indicated they had spoken with another company before signing with us. So that's huge. That's the proof point. Showing the proof, showing those testimonials, showing why is huge. So ensure you have a strong brand. So this is huge. That's why I say, look, if you guys don't have a logo, if you're marketing your name or whatever it is, make sure you're consistent with it. So I get a lot of questions of like, how do you brand it, whatever. It's consistency. Okay, so if I have a logo and there's no logo that is like so much better than the other logo. I will tell you, stay away from the cheesy house and key logos because those are just overplayed and overdone. But these logos, these are not like some fancy logos here, like Nike. It's literally a swoosh. I mean, that thing has been marketed and branded millions and millions of dollars with the silliest logo ever. Apple, it's literally just an apple. Facebook is just text. IBM is just text with lines in it. So they're not very creative, but they have branded it so smart and so strategically that you recognize it. And that's what the logo is. It's because it's on every single thing that you do. So your marketing plan, whatever you have in place for that, needs to have that brand consistent across the board. If I have a personal logo, I'm going to make sure that that logo is on my social media campaigns. So if I'm posting something on social media, the logo's on it. I'm going to make sure it's on my website. I'm going to make sure it's on all my emails, your business cards, every single thing you do. Any printed brochures, everything has to have that logo and the look and feel the same way throughout. Consistency is key because it's represented across all channels. And so you have to really think about that. So then optimize your website. I know I've said this a few times. So this is crucial because to me, the marketing, your website is always your focal point. That's always where in marketing for me, I always was like, that has to be built up before I do anything else. So if you don't have your website in place, I would say for you, that's your first step. Get your website in place because everything that you're doing should be pointing back to your website. The key too, and especially if you're using the InTouch site, that is letting you know when people are browsing your site. It's letting you know when people have subscribed, when they are set up listing alerts. Like those are crucial. And so you need to have that website in place. So when you're sending out email blasts, that has your website on the bottom. You know, a blog post that you're doing, if you share that across your social media, they are linking that back to your website. So have it, make sure it has a clear message and make sure it's easily found information, but make sure you're giving them the information. You know, you're not just putting, okay, I serve these communities. Like, give them more information. So this is what I say, like, build out those community served pages. You know, if this was my agent and I was saying, okay, I want to dominate plantation, I would then say, what is somebody looking to buy in plantation need to know? What do they want to know? Probably schools. So put the list and links of schools on your site. Make your site the site that they want to come to find out information. You know, if you have stuff about the mortgage rates or whatever, put that on your site so they find it on your site. And you can just get this, like, guaranteed offending. They will literally give you anything to help put on your site. So that's what I say. Content is key. It's what Google uses to search for keywords. And this basically, guys, if you look at a site, and I used to have a little like message bot on my websites that if they could contact me at any point. Well, with that message bot, it was great because it would tell me everything that was happening on the back end. I would see, and I started to really see, I was like, oh my God, they really scan your site 3 to 4 times a day. I'm not kidding. I would see the robot going 3 to 4 times a day. They're scanning, and all they can scan is content. They can't scan a video, they can't scan graphics, but what they can pull, and this is why you say a lot of SEO, you can hide in pictures. They can scan the back end of a picture. They call it like alt text, but they can scan it and see what content comes into that. But they can't see the picture. They're just a robot scanning. So that's why content is all how the Google finds you. It's the content, it's words. Making sure that you have all of the content in there. It's linking even within your site. So even if you create a page and say you want to have it linked to like other information, like if I had a page on plantation and it was my community served, then maybe I create another page on plantation and I link it to that. Like, that's linking within your site. Those linking help. So then making sure too is that your copy on your site, landing page users arrive, to the blog posts, newsletters, emails. So all of those things have to coincide. So your content, obviously, it's essential. So you have to be aware of successfully, need to know what types of content to use and when. So here's the recommended content types for each stage of the buyer's journey. So awareness stage, this is when they're just searching, they're trying to think of what are they going to do. They're thinking of buying a home, but they're not sure yet. So this is where ebooks are crucial. Like I say a lot, especially if you're In Touch Pro, you get guides already. You get a home buyer's guide and you get seller's guides for free. You guys don't know that. They're in your marketing center with Pro. If you don't have Pro, even a marketing, Moxie, the Moxie has a home buyer's guide that you can use as a draw-in. That can even be an ad for a Facebook advertisement that maybe if you're targeting home buyers, you talk about the buyer guide. So that's why ebooks, e-guides, white papers, any kind of thing that you can give them for free is what they're looking for. Blog posts. This is again where you're posting about that process. Consideration. So once we're at the consideration stage, this is where webinars, I say webinars, but really I would say like probably more like videos, Facebook Lives, expert and solution oriented guided and white papers. This is where your knowledge is key. Showing them why this area or why go with you. That's where it's key. So then the decision stage, this is the product comparisons, case studies, the downloads. This is where they're actually downloading things, which is actually tough to do on the In Touch, but we could figure out solutions for that. Or product focused content. So define your distribution channels. So this is how you would set up your marketing plan. It's figuring out where do you want to market. Okay, if I'm going to do emails, I'm going to say I'm going to do emails. I'm going to use social media. I'm going to do a couple direct mail pieces. And then as you set this up, and I have sample marketing plans too. I just thought of this, that I can send you guys if you guys need help with figuring out how to lay this out. I basically have marketing plans that go for a year or even 6 months that I can share with you guys. But it's a great way to even keep your budget intact. And I basically have it for the year. It's a whole spreadsheet in Excel, but it'll show you and it keeps you on track. So if I say, okay, if I have an email, I'm going to send out my email and you decide, okay, I'm not going to decide for you. You guys have to decide with your clients and your prospects of what is appropriate. So if it's once a month or whatever it is for you, you have to decide. So if I'm going to do an email, I'm going to say, okay, if I'm going to do it once a month, then stick to that once a month. Say, okay, every 15th of the month, I'm sending an email blast out. Or if you're going to do it twice a month, then stick to that too. And then here you can put it on the plan, so then it keeps you on track. So then every month you know, okay, I know I need to do this month. Social media, same thing. Figure out what you want to do, because I get asked this a lot. What's the appropriate way to post? I mean, to me, this is a personal issue, and it's really knowing your audience. So this is where marketing comes in play with, you have to really know how the people are responding to your marketing messages. You know, if you're sending a bunch of emails, like I had one guy, he was literally sending them like twice a week. And he's like, I'm getting so many unsubscribes. And I'm like, well, I think you're kind of aggressive. I would toke it back. Don't send twice a week. And then see what happens. If you're noticing stuff like that, then you have to make adjustments. You know, same with social media. You know, some people post. I mean, I see some agents literally every day they're posting and they're posting and they're posting, you know, but if you see you're not getting enough engagement or you're not getting people engaged, they're probably going to get tired of it. So then cut back on that, you know, say to yourself, okay, I'm only going to post 3 times a week or 4 times a week, whatever it is, that's you. And then see what your response is. And if you're not getting the response, then make those adjustments. This is where I say email. Pro tip is when creating emails, keep the content short. So this is where drip campaigns come in very crucial, in my opinion, because you don't have to put everything in one email. You could spread it out on the course of 7 to 8 emails, and then that's now 7 to 8 touches that they're getting from you. So for example, on a drip campaign, you could talk about, you know, maybe you talk about yourself on one part. And then you go to like, okay, if I'm targeting buyers, then maybe I want to talk about stuff that a buyer guide can give them. Maybe I give them a buyer guide in my email. And then maybe the next one I talk about buyer testimonials that I've received. So those can be like, this is what I mean by spread it out. And the drip campaign, that's where you're basically touching them all the time. Because as you know, sometimes you get leads and it can take you up to a year that you're still trying to nurture those leads. So this is where you determine the best media. So select 2 or 3 medias to convey your message. Okay, and that's where media choices are print, online, billboards, obviously, or I wouldn't do a billboard, bus benches, in-person marketing, and more. So this is where you can decide, what am I going to do? And the good thing is with the listing concierge, you can spread that out. That in itself, that package in itself has so many medias in it that you can spread that out over your marketing plan. So, you know, like say for a property, like honestly, if I was going this with you guys, if I was doing this as an agent, I would have a plan for each property. So then I would spread it out. So say for listing concierge, for example, I would say, okay, if I'm going to have this listing for a year, I got to figure out how am I going to market this listing every month for the year? What am I going to do? So that's where listing concierge helps a lot, because not only do you get a direct mail piece, so you get your just listed, just sold. That's 2 mailers right there that you're getting. You get the online advertising, you get the TV spot, and then the magazine. So those can get spread out each month. So if I was going to actually show this to a seller, which you guys should, because then it's going to show you more knowledgeable. But then you could spread that out and then determine, okay, what do I need to fill in the gaps for? You know, maybe you're filling in the gaps with open houses or virtual tours or live, like Facebook live events. Those are then where you can figure out where to fill in for your listing and where the advertising needs to be filled in. So be sure to have a strong and active presence across all social media sites. So this is where I say, because I say it a lot, guys, and I know I do a lot of social media. It's not something that I say I live and breathe for leads. And there are people who are getting leads from it. I'm not saying you don't. But for me, for what I see and what I see in marketing and everything it's more of a presence. People go, if they're considering going with you, they're going to look you up. They're going to Google you. They're going to try to find you on social media, and they're going to figure out if they want to go with you. So social media is crucial. If you don't have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, you know, get those. I would say those are the main ones. YouTube is obviously taking off because video in any manner is taking off. I do have Pinterest on here because Pinterest is like a hidden gem. And I'm going to tell you, I used to get a lot of leads from Pinterest, and Pinterest is something that you don't really have to maintain. Pinterest, you can literally take, so if I have a listing, you make an album on Pinterest, and think of the demographic on Pinterest. What is it? It's predominantly women. We all know women are the ones who make the buying choices. So Pinterest, you can make an album on Pinterest for that listing, and then every single picture you put in there, have that link to your InTouch listing page. That right there, it's linking to your page. So if they're going right to your page if they click on that. That's where that little thing, and that's nothing. You don't have to maintain that other than just putting an album on there of a listing, and that's it. You don't have to sit there and constantly post or whatever. Just every time you get a listing, create a board. They call it like a board. Create a board for that listing and put it on Pinterest. I'm telling you, you'll get leads from it. It's amazing, but it's predominantly women, and they love looking at houses, especially if it's a beautiful listing. Consistency. So designate one day of the week to provide followers with specific information. So this is where you could say like market update Mondays. And this is where I see a lot of people are doing the Facebook Live. So even if you say, okay, Facebook Live with Lauren every Tuesday, they're gonna know that you're out there and you're doing that, and they'll get consistent. They'll start to get familiar with it. So it'll build familiarity with the content and provide as well a reason for buyers and sellers to check in with your account. So they'll start looking for it, guys. They really will start looking for it. So those with the younger base, posting regular video updates to YouTube and Instagram are huge, and sharing to those sites. These videos should be treated as informal chats about topics of interest in market. So I know a lot of you have been on my other classes, and I'm going to repeat it again. And I know you're probably going to get tired of me saying it, but you've got to do video. You've got to do video, guys. It is so big right now. And if you aren't doing video, you've got to do video. Get the selfie stick so you have a way to hold the phone easier and you don't have it jumping around. Get the selfie stick and start doing videos, guys. They can be very simple. Even if you're trying to target, say, a certain neighborhood, go in, talk about that neighborhood and do a little tour of the neighborhood, a neighborhood tour, and talk about the market, give a market update on that neighborhood. It's huge. It's trending so high right now. I highly, you guys got to get doing video. And then what you can do with that video, not only can you share it across your social media, but you can email blast that out. That's an email right there that you can send out to your sphere and let them know. So determine the best media. This is when you strategically place your home online. You know, I receive all the leads we get on your home. In addition, your home will be on. Have a page that shows all the websites. You know, professional pictures online. This is again too, where you just got to make sure you're getting those professional high-end pictures. This is again, a listing concierge comes into place and helps. I'm telling you guys, there's no plan that I have ever been able to put in place where I could touch all of those media elements that listing concierge does. There's no way. Even if you had to buy the magazine ad, which is a statewide ad, you're talking at least $800 for that ad. Then on top of that, you're talking a TV spot, a one-time spot. I know I hear a lot, it's only one time. Go look at how much a TV spot costs. That's why it's one time. You're getting that for $315, well, at least Southeast, $315. You guys got to look at what your market is. With Southeast, $350 for the silver package. There's no way you could do all of those elements yourself. So that's the benefit of where you could really brand yourself across all media. So not only is Listing Concierge helping you with your marketing plan, but it's helping you get branded out there. It's helping people see your brand and you. So just keep that in mind too when you're creating these plans. Like I said, is you could spread it out over the course of the listing. Create professional brochure and flyers. Again, Listing Concierge does this for you. Send postcards to your neighbors, notifying them property sale. Again, Listing Concierge does all this stuff for you. I actually did this before we even had Listing Concierge, but just this, it's all going with Listing Concierge. Notify agents in my office and region. Again, Listing Concierge sends out that update for you. So this is what I mean is you guys get branded across all of those elements. So if you're just starting out and looking to expand your brand, I'm telling you, start with the Listing Concierge. If you don't have listings, this is where you can hold open houses, you know, and virtual open houses are trending so high right now. So doing a walkthrough of the house is huge. So I talk about this on my social media class because there's this app called Teleprompter. Teleprompter literally lets you put your phone in front of you. You could download the app and you could put key points in there. You can even read from it. And it looks like you're looking right at the camera. It's exactly what the actors and actresses use on TV. It's Teleprompter. So get that app and then you're not stuttering and fumbling over your words. If you get stuck, because I know if you're just starting out doing a video, you're going to be nervous. I get that. You're nervous, but just know this too, because I hear this a lot. Agents are like, oh, I don't like video. I don't like how I look on video. I don't like how I sound. You're the only one that thinks you sound weird on video. We all think you sound normal. It sounds fine to us. It sounds weird to you because we all sound weird to ourselves. But get comfortable. Don't like say that, oh, I have an accent. Like this is a key thing that keeps coming up. And I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks, this has come up. I'm not even kidding, a handful of times to me where agents who have accents are hesitant to get on video. I'm going to tell you, I think it actually helps you. I had an agent in Key Biscayne. She said the same thing to me. I think she's like Russian. She has a Russian accent, I think. She said, I don't like it. People don't like my accent. I said, I'm going to tell you, I guarantee it's going to draw them in, the accent. She has 15,000 followers now because of it. It's crazy. So I'm saying, guys, don't think of that, because what you think is a hindrance, other people can relate to. You know, and people will actually think of it as they like it. So just, we're always our worst critics. We're always the most critical of us. So don't just post it and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? So then personally invite your neighbors to the open house. Prospecting daily for how many hours? So this is determining how many hours am I going to prospect to find a buyer for your home. You have to determine this. Am I going to make how many calls a day, or what am I going to do? You know, you have to determine this. This is all goes in your plan. Aggressive follow-up with prospective buyers. Hold a broker open house. You advertise. So again, advertising can be digitally, it could be print, however you want to advertise. Email blasts, weekly check-in calls to stay on the pulse. Automatically via email, send you all feedback from showings. So this is home feedback or other solutions. Email new listings, pending sales in your neighborhood. Review pricing weekly and notify you immediately of market changes. This is where you say, my team does 100% of the showings. You're hired us to sell your home. That's our job. So that's an optional thing, obviously. But that now you create an action plan. Now that you have all those things in place, you can now create a plan of how you're going to put that out there. So organization and consistency is key. I keep putting this because consistency is huge in marketing. You know, I'd like to say it's like a wheel that you just can't let stop. You have to make sure it's constantly keeps spinning. So a marketing calendar, and I have samples of these stuff. If you guys need this, I have a sample of a social media calendar I can give you. I have a sample of a whole marketing plan on budget you can use as a guide. But these are crucial, and this is where I say this is the difference with sales and marketing. Okay, everything on marketing is driven by a plan, a schedule. Everything is. You have an ad schedule, you have a social media schedule. It's how you guys can stay on and make sure that you're staying consistent. And I'm going to tell you, all of the top agents are doing this. Yes, they probably have an assistant doing this, but I can help you guys, seriously. Just get it created, and then it's a lot easier, and that's probably going to take you the longest time, is to create it. Then once you have it in place, it's much easier to then say, okay, I need to do this today. And then you're not scrambling saying, okay, I haven't posted in a few days. What am I going to post? You know, this is where you have a guide, and it can switch. I'm not saying it's a live and breathe, but at least it's something that when you're crazy and you're running around all these open houses and showings and all this, and constantly with check-ins and all the stuff that you guys have to do, this is where it keeps you in place and keeps you on track with your marketing, because that's the only way that any business is going to be successful is keeping the consistency of the marketing intact. And it's the same with any business. You look at any business, and I used to consult with all different types of industries. No matter what, it came down to the same process. So blog posts, those are content, can be published 3 times per week. Okay, that's aggressive. I'm going to say that's aggressive. I'm not saying to do 3 times a week, because I know nobody likes to write. But here's what I would do for blog posting, okay, to make it a little bit easier. And again, we all used to write essays, right? We all had to take cliff notes from class that we said we couldn't plagiarize, but we found a way to basically manipulate it and make it our own. That's what marketing is, and that's what blog posting is. So don't ever think that you have to reinvent the wheel and look at a blank screen. You know, go, and like I say, use that California market to come up with ideas. So what I did too is for blog posting, and this is even blog posting, social media, whatever, take the time to write out a bunch of ideas or topics. So what I did is I spent a couple hours one day, and I just went and researched a bunch of real estate websites, and I figured out just a bunch of different topics that I could write a blog post about. And they could be anything from like staging a home, landscaping, do-it-yourself tips on a home, or anything like market updates. Always attractions and anything coming up that's events are always huge to blog about. I would do that religiously every Thursday. I would talk about what's happening for the weekend on that particular area. Those are always going to be huge. Not only are they going to be huge because people love to know what's happening in the area, but it's huge especially if you have an event that's a big draw, people will find it. So like, for example, I used to do this one builder over in Parrish. I talk about this because to me, I didn't even know what it was. And it was the Hunsader Pumpkin Festival. I had no idea what it was, but I found it and I blogged about it. That thing generated so much traffic because apparently it was the only thing in town to do. But I didn't know that because I was over here on this West Coast talking about that coast. So, but that's what I mean, is just doing a little bit of research and finding out what are the events happening in that area and then talking about it. That's all it is. And we have such a big area down here with Florida where everybody wants to be. You know, no matter where you guys are at, and I know the whole state, whether you're in Central Florida, the West Coast, Southeast, there's tons of stuff to do in here, way more than, say, Idaho or Ohio. So blog about it. Cold calling. So this is huge too, because I'm telling you guys, cold calling still works. It does still work. It's making sure, like, get over that fear of calling and just call. What's the worst that's going to happen? They hang up on you. So what? You move on, call again. But set aside time each day. There literally is this couple right now in Pinecrest. This is all they're doing. These two women. They're literally coming in daily, just making phone calls, and they're getting listings like crazy. And they're actually saying that people aren't even calling them. They're doing expireds, and they're calling and they're saying that they're the first ones to hear from somebody on the phone. First agent to call. They're used to getting a ton of emails or whatever. So call, be that one that picks up the phone and calls, and have a script ready to ensure that you're being as effective as possible. You know, this is where the script library comes into place. That's on Sales Pro. There's a whole script library for you guys. Email campaigns. This is, again, making sure that you're sending these out on a monthly basis, at least once a month, if not twice, and then track which days of the week you receive the best response. See, this is crucial too. You know, anything with marketing is tracking, is making sure you're looking at what's responding and what's working and what's not. I used to do a ton of digital ads. I would change if I saw that the response was going down or I wasn't getting as many clicks. I would, in the middle of it running, I would change it. I would swap out pictures, change the headline. That's what I mean, is you have to kind of keep up with this stuff. And I know it's like you're exhausted because I'm saying all this and you're getting overwhelmed because I'm saying all this, but it doesn't take that much time, guys. If I have a digital ad, all I have to do is check in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, check in how it's doing. If I see that I'm not getting as many clicks, then literally Facebook makes it so easy. They have that carousel one. I literally take the third picture, I put it in the front, and I make some changes on the headline. Boom, hit publish, I'm done. You're talking a few minutes of your time can make it a big difference. Emails too. If you see that you're having a higher open rate on a certain day and time versus another, then play with that. You have to know your market and your audience. You know, I can tell you very popular times are always like Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always great for emails. But you never know. If you're talking about events happening, I used to do social media posts on events Thursday because it would be right before the weekend. Those were always very popular. So you have to play with it and know what's working. Don't live and breathe. You have to alter, but you have to be aware of what's happening. And when you have your plan in place, it's easier to then make adjustments. Then get found. So this is obviously where the search engine optimization is huge. And I've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to go over it again, but you guys know, you guys got to get the search engine. You got to make sure that your content is on your website. And then your key performance indicators. So this is your measurement methods. This is what I say by looking, like if you have the open rates or you're looking at your drip campaigns or your campaigns that are going out in touch, you've got to go and look at the performance. You got to see how many people are opening it, how many people are unsubscribing, you know, look at that. I looked at all of the back end stuff and then I would make adjustments. And that's how you have to always make key adjustments, and you basically have to pivot. You know, the marketing's really pivoting. It's pivoting to what your consumer wants, and it changes all the time. So measure. Are you achieving your goals set forth in your plan? You'll never know if you don't measure. This is where measuring is crucial. So use like small codes in direct mail to identify each piece. So this is where tracking is in place. They actually have phone numbers that you can put in place for tracking. But if you guys don't even want to do that, you know, if you know that you have a few media out there and you have a few things out there as far as marketing, then when somebody calls you, you need to get in the habit. And I used to train my salespeople to do this. I had to train it. I had to keep repeating to them, no, this is the first question you should ask. Where did you hear about me? That needs to be the first question that comes up. How did you hear about me? Or how did you find me? Where did you hear about me? That you have to ask that question. If you don't ask, they won't tell you. Now, I'm not saying it's always 100%, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't remember, or maybe in this book or this brochure or whatever. But you have to ask. That's going to help you then determine how are they finding you. You know, if you see that you're spending money in this ad in a magazine and nothing's happening, then it'll tell you, okay, if I'm not getting anything from this, why am I spending this money? Take it off my plan. Those are the things that are going to help you then determine your plan over the course of the time and make adjustments where needed. So you're not spending money so carelessly. You're spending it effectively. So keep track of your costs. And one way to do this is by calculating the cost per contact. So I know this is a little bit much probably for you guys, but if you mailed out 500 brochures at a cost of $2,500, received 10 inquiries, and that's basically the cost per contact is $250. So that's when they're saying, okay, if I'm spending this much money and I'm only getting like one listing, is it worth it? You know, set up savings account, obviously. Typically you allocate 10% of the funds for your personal marketing, 30% to reach new prospects that fit your customer file, and 60% for repeat business. It's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. I tell you. But keep that in mind. This is what I mean by you have to have these things in place to know what is your goal? Who are you targeting? You know, is it repeat business? If it's repeat business, I'm telling you, there's that NAR statistic where they say like 90-something% of people are happy with their realtors, but only 20% go back and use them, or 40, I can't remember what it is, but it's something low that go back and use them because they lost contact with them. That's where it's making sure that they know who you are and you're still in the business to do this stuff. So measure, measure, measure. So the ability to measure your inbound marketing is one of the most valuable parts of your plan. It's the beauty of inbound marketing. So what I say by inbound marketing is basically like blog posts, it's writing and stuff like that. This is where having the back end in place, I'm not going to get too in, but it's having that custom analytics where you can actually see what's happening on the back end of your website. You can see where people are coming from, and that's free. You can set that up in Google Analytics, but knowing this is huge. And then creating a plan. So this is where calendars can come in place. This is where the plan, all of this stuff comes into place with having that written out for you guys. Sorry, somebody came to the door. So list overarching strategy and tactical plans. You know, having those tactical plans, calendars gives you the ideas and the strategy, and it really just keeps you on target. It keeps you focused on your goal, and it helps then you being more effective and more consistent. So this is where, again, I could say to you, like, look, it's not a guide. It's a guide. It's not a Bible. So you're not going to live and breathe it. It can change. You know, don't think just because you have it in place that that's what it is. It can change at any moment. And you have to be able to pivot with marketing because it always changes depending on what's happening in the world. Obviously, nobody can predict the future. 2020 is a perfect example, which is why it's vital to remember that your marketing plan should be a living, working document. Again, when I say it's always changing. So plan the work and basically work the plan. So I know I just freaking threw a bunch of stuff at you guys, and looks like we are like at time. So what questions do you guys have for me, if anything? I'm gonna make sure I put my email in here. I did record this. I would be happy to share this PowerPoint with you guys. If you guys want plans, sample plans, anything like that, just let me know. I'm going to put my email in the chat. Okay, good. Sylvia, I love that. Yes, I will share my social media plan and budget. How do you guys want me to share it? You want me to put it in the chat, or you just want me to, you want to send an email out?
Yes, email, please.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you guys then just one favor then. Could you send me an email that you want that, and then it's easier, I can just respond to you with it. So if you guys don't mind doing that, send me an email and I can send you examples and all of that stuff. Okay, this chat is like way. Connie has a great, so Connie is our FMM over in the Northeast. She has a great thing is once you have your plan, set up prompts in your calendar. So this is great. This is where you can set up reminders in your calendar to stay on track. I love Patrick's offering to do open houses. I love it. Okay, I'm trying to catch up in the chat here. Who did you say will give all the information to put on your website? So nobody's giving you information. You got to get the information on your website. But if you guys, like you mentioned something about developers or whatever, I mean, you guys have to come up with that information. Like I said, Marketing is basically taking somebody's idea and making it better. So look what's out there, grab stuff from the city. Like if you're trying to farm a certain city, you know, grab stuff about the city and just rework it into your own words. Okay, what else? I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything crucial on these chat. Yes, coffee. I do need coffee. Yeah, so this was recorded. Let me actually stop that because sometimes I do forget to stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop it now.